Hey there, welcome to this episode. We're going to take a look at the browser and how to load samples on the MPC. Very simple process. We can do it from any of the browse locations. With MPC 3.0, with a drum track, you will notice there is now this browse tab right in the middle of the screen. I can click that to go to the browser. Alternatively, if we go back to main for a second, I've set up the browser as a shortcut. I could do it from here, and your device probably has a specific browse button or a shift function that will allow you to get to that function. So shift and menu, in my case, is how I'm going to get to the browser as well. So multiple ways to get to exactly the same place. When we're here, this little top bit of information is just like a location. It tells you where you're at. If we look at these three little tabs underneath, content is generally built-in content that you get on the MPC, stuff from Akai that will be built into the MPC when you buy one. And if I press instruments, you'll see it tells me it's internal content and it's instruments, this one, internal demos. So that is just a little written locator to let you know what you're looking at. Underneath, we have these three tabs. So content, as I've just mentioned, is internal content. Expansions is for expansions, whether you purchase them from Akai or third-party expansions. As long as they're in the right format, they're going to show up as expansions on your device. Then we've got our places, and I use places the most because it's how I access my SSD, which is my internal hard drive. And if my SD card was plugged in, that would also be in this list, and I could search through that and look for the samples that I'm looking for. So places is my go-to personally. When we move across the top, we've got 5 folders. They can be set up as custom shortcuts. So if there's a particular sample pack, some drums, something that you use all the time, you can actually select one of these folders and make it a permanent favorite. So something that you can go back to. You just have to press the folder. It's going to pull that up for you. I don't have any set up at the moment because I don't really use it, but you can do that. Underneath, we have the search bar, which is pretty self-explanatory. But let's say I was looking for something like a ride symbol. I can type into my search bar, ride, and it's going to search through and pull up anything with ride in the title. You will also notice even where we've got one called Storm Rider, as long as ride is located in the wording somewhere, it's going to pull it up. So it's a pretty comprehensive search bar and it's pretty useful. Let's press the X to clear it out. Underneath there, we have tabs for choosing specific file types when you're searching. So if I go into a folder, let's go into vocals and spoken word. This is a bunch of WAV files because that's what's inside of that folder. If I was looking for a plugin or a program or something else from this little tab list, if I just use plugin as a demo, there's no plugins in here, so it can't find anything. But if they were, that would be the only thing that it brings up. I know that this is full of WAV files, so that's what we can see. Or you can keep it over here and be searching for everything at the same time. Over here, we have a little cog icon that just gives you some browser options, things you can turn off and on. Obviously, that's going to be dependent on your taste and workflow. You can set that up. And then underneath here, this little arrow is kind of important. Sometimes it's a bit fiddly to get it to trigger, but it changes the alphabetical order of samples. So if you've got a sample folder, you've got a bunch of samples, a lot in there, and you know what you're looking for is at the end of the alphabet or the beginning, you can use this little arrow to change the order. And I might have to whack this thing to get it to work because it is fiddly, but there we go. It's changed the order to start at the beginning of the alphabet. If I try and do it again, let's just see. It's now starting at the end of the alphabet. Keep that one in mind because that is pretty useful. We have a little scroll bar here for scrolling through the sample. So you can do it like this with your finger. You can use your data wheel to scroll through. And obviously, currently we're looking at samples. I don't have any sound enabled at the moment. There will be in obviously future episodes. But a couple of things. When you're scrolling through, when you first get one of these devices, the audition, I believe, is not set to auto. So when you're looking at a sample, you'll go through and you say, I want to listen to tunes. I would have to press the play button in order to hear that sample and audition it. But if you go into the audition menu and you turn it to auto, it means as you're scrolling through, you're going to hear every single one of these samples. That's how I like it personally, but there are options. You'll notice you can sync, you can even have them warped. Generally, I'll keep warping off, and you can set a volume control. If it's a little bit loud as you're scrolling through the samples, you want to turn it down, or of course, turn it up if you need to. And then we get to load to pool. I'm going to cover the sample pool in another episode, talk a little bit more about that, because for new users, that's quite confusing. But if you want to load to your sample pool, that's how you do it. And also, we have a load button here. Now, as I've mentioned in another episode with the MPC, there are multiple ways to do the same thing. So if we were to begin loading samples onto our pads, all you have to do is select the pad and you will notice it lights up green to let you know that it's enabled and ready for a sample to be loaded to it. If I double click, it will load that sample. If I press load, it's going to load that sample. Or if I click the encoder, it's going to load that sample. I mentioned this in another episode. That's just the way the MPC works. It allows you to tailor it to suit yourself. But ultimately, that is how you browse and you start loading up samples on the MPC.